And we're back. I'm Ashman.
And I'm Cookcell.
And we stopped last time after choosing the blue pill option. I would call it the blue pill option, where we decided that we wanted our normal life back. And we went through that kind of story. And
I do have to wonder about it because in the original Matrix, wasn't the blue pill to keep yourself tricked?
Yes, that's why I call it the blue pill. I call it the blue pill option because, yeah, it's super accurate. Like, go back to your normal life. But we're going to choose the red pill and see where we go from there. Are we ready?
Anyway, yeah, for the truth.
The truth. Are you ready to free your mind and...
Oh, yeah.
and fucking carry on your goddamn unholy relationship with this lolly monster thing?
Yep, totally.
Right, let's do it. On that terrible day when I first opened my eyes after the accident, what would my answer have been? When I think back on this many years from now, will I wish that my answer today had been different? It doesn't matter. Here, at this moment, there is no doubt in my mind. I ask Saya, looking at the unidentifiable pieces of the monster.
隣の家に住んでたおじさん。名前は知らないけど。
鈴見さんか。
He was hardly a stranger. We've been neighbours for as long as I can remember. I'd go so far as to say we were on good terms before the accident. And now I've killed him with my own two hands. I feel little. Mr. Suzumi, the kindly painter who lived next door, is but a distant memory. The pieces of meat around me belong to a creature whose mere existence was nauseating. Only by killing the vermin could I find relief.
The vermin.
Complained about my yard being filthy, the swine. Doesn't matter what Saya did, he wasn't worth keeping alive anyway. These are my honest feelings. My hands are wet with another man's blood, and yet I am utterly calm.
Can I just unpack that for a moment? He hated that my yard was messy, therefore he must die.
Oh, I didn't actually think about that. How dare he thinks my yard is messy.
Like, he's completely disregarding what happened to Saya as well when he puts that in his evaluation of what just happened.
Yeah, what the hell? Like, what the hell? Yeah. I don't know what this Fuminori guy just... I don't like him.
A real piece of nasty work.
Maybe all of this is to do with his condition, but...
No.
I just don't think that all of it can be attributed to the accident.
No, I believe I said something like that as well. I just don't think that's the case. He was already a nasty person, and this has made him nastier.
Now I know what I lost in the accident. Saya says that I can take it back, but I know that I cannot. It is gone forever, like the life of the man called Suzumi.
なあ、さや。僕の異常を治すことは医者には絶対できないことだったんだ。
ふみのり？
人間にできないことを簡単にできるっていう君は人間じゃないんだね。
It took him this long to figure that out.
Will we get some kind of explanation, or just leave it vague?
Saya looks away, her expression unreadable. Everything is monstrous and loathsome in my eyes. Everything but Saya. I thought that she was somehow unique. I was wrong. I see her just as I do everything else, as something other than what she really is. But why should that surprise me? Saya is part of my world, just as I am part of hers. It doesn't change what we are to each other. I stand and walk over to Suzumi's dismembered corpse.
昔読んだ漫画でさ、事故から生き返ったせいで世界が当たり前に見えなくなる男の話があった。
Yeah, funny that.
今の僕みたいに
Oh, I don't know what manga that is. I feel like that's actually referencing something.
You think so?
I finally realised that even though the stench of these monsters' flesh turns my stomach, their blood and guts smell pretty good. In fact, I know this fragrance quite well.
その男の目には人間が石くれに、機械のロボットが美女に見えるんだ。
That's a very weird and specific issue to have, isn't it? People as rocks and robots as beautiful women.
So he only saw beautiful women around him.
人とは似ても似つかないロボットに恋をしてしまうんだ。
I'm assuming there's robots everywhere.
Must be set in the future or something. I retrieve the cleaver, pick up a piece of Suzumi's body, and start removing the skin and tendons. Ah, just as I thought. The stuff underneath is exactly the same as what Sai and I have been eating.
Huh?
これうまそうだし食べちゃおうか。あ、ごめん。今はそんな気分になれないよね。でも死んじゃえば肉は肉だし、捨てるのももったいないと思わないか。また冷蔵庫にしまっておこうよ。
あなたはいいの？
I like how Saya comes across as the more rational one out of the two of these people.
いいよ。
I answer easily. There's no longer any room for doubt in my mind.
あと、隣の家に奥さんと娘さんがいるはずなんだ。旦那がいなくなったら騒ぐかもしれないし、通報するの買っとこうと思うんだが。
Right, at this point, fuck Fuminori. Right? Fuck this guy. This guy sucks. I have no sympathy. Gone right out the window. Right? Just absolute. What a fucking scumbag. What a scumbag, man. That actually genuinely pisses me off. And like, we know that they've been killed, but still.
He doesn't know that.
The fact that he's suggesting this, fuck this guy.
そんな風であなたはいいの？
Saya asks again, this time with a trace of fear in her voice. I guess I still haven't convinced her of my sincerity.
さっきの漫画の話だとね、人でないものを愛した男は最後に自分が人間であることをやめて恋を成就させるんだ。
So that line of giving up his own humanity for the sake of their love, that reminds me of a movie I watched. Have you heard of a movie called Old Boy?
Yes. I haven't watched it though.
Oh. I won't talk about this. It will basically ruin the story. But it reminds me of that.
ハッピーエンドだよ。だろ？
Happy ending!
I'm pretty sure the other one was the happy ending. We've already seen that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a much more palatable ending.
さやと一緒にいられるのなら、僕はもう何もいらない。何もかもこのままでいい。
Repeat animation. Or repeat slide. Tossing the knife and meat aside, I pull Sai into my arms once more.
もう言ってもいいよね。さや、君のこと愛してる。
As Saya wipes away the tears flowing from her eyes, I can no longer see any hint of fear in her face.
あなたのこと後悔させたくないのに、なのに。
I have sworn my oath, and Saya has accepted it. You have nothing to fear now. Saya will never need to cry again.
でも嬉しい。私って身勝手だよね。
身勝手でいいよ。さやのわがままなら聞くよ、僕は。
That's an unhealthy relationship. You shouldn't do that. It's not good for her. Filled with contentment, we exchange a smile and set to the task of cleaning the room. A single person produces a lot more meat than I expected.
Have you seen how big a person is?
Speaking of which, I seem to remember doing something similar before.
あとの2人だけど、多分おじさんが殺してる。悲鳴とか聞こえたし。
そうか。そりゃ好都合だ。
That's one way of putting it.
After we finish here, we should go gather the meat from the Suzumiya house. That should be enough to hold us for a while. And we can use their refrigerator to store what won't fit in ours. God damn this guy. Also, like, I feel like Saya is innocent in all of this because she doesn't really understand morality like humans do. So I'm giving her a bit of a pass with these type of things. But see Fuminori,
He's
absolute
a grown-ass
scum.
man.
And he's just complete fucking scum. I like the other ending. I didn't get to see this side of him.
This was the red pill ending. You wanted to see this.
Give us the truth. Can you handle the truth? No, I can't. No, I don't want to know.
You just want Jack Nicholson shouting at you. You're not the same.
It's all coming together. Sai and I will be just fine. Okay. Why do you have to eat the meat? You don't have to eat the meat. You could just eat... Oh.
It's the only thing that tastes good.
After we finish our labours and get into bed, I show Saya what I found in the Ogai's house. After we finish our labours, what a lot of work you've done. Busy people, you deserve a rest after cutting up all those human beings and putting them in your fridge.
この一枚見覚えがあるよ。確かにさやの知ってる場所。
The photograph that Saya has selected is one with the Tochigi Prefecture address on the back.
これは家だよね。それと木と山。
そう。ふみのりすごいね。写真も見られるようになった？
That's a good point, actually.
Wait.
まあね。
Yeah.
So yeah, because he can't even see pictures normally, he just sees it as he sees reality.
Is it that he's interpreting it, or is it that he's actually seeing normal trees in that?
I don't know, let's see what he said. At the outset of my ordeal, I had to depend entirely on my sense of distance to decipher what I saw. The houses in front of me, the mountains far behind them, the clouds high above. Only distance and scale told me what they were. Photographs and other flat images used to be nearly impossible to make out. Recently, however, I've gotten better at understanding what things are by their shape. I know what the mountains and sky look like, for instance, and how to tell them apart from buildings.
Right.
Each of the three pictures shows a similar scene. A lone house in the middle of a thick forest.
パパはね、別荘だって言ってた。ここにいれば誰にも見つからないって。
That would always set off a red flag to me if someone's like, I've got a place that I can just go and hide. Judging by the address in the back of each photo, they probably are excellent places to hide from prying eyes. But why 3? The real question is, why even have 1? The dates are pretty old, and it seems odd that they were all taken within a few days of each other. Maybe he was scouting properties, looking for the perfect location for his hideaway. Saya recognises only one of the houses, so that must be the one Ogai picked. Checking location on a road map of the Kanto area, I find that it's about 3 hours out of Tokyo by car.
お父さんがここにいる可能性は？
電話してみたけど出なかったよ。多分いないと思う。
でも最近に立ち寄ったことはあるかもしれないよね。
The way I see it, our only hope of finding Ogai is to follow whatever lead we have, no matter how small. The probability that his hideout will yield useful information may be low, but it's not 0.
明日にでも行ってみようかな、ここ。
Saya pouts. I wasn't expecting her to object.
でもここ遠いんでしょ？
行って調べて帰ってきても、まあ半日もあれば十分さ。
I mean, that is a bit of time.
その間、さやはお留守番なの？
So that's what it is. Slightly exasperated, I smile and rub Saya's head.
少しは我慢してくれよ。な？そやだってお父さんのこと見つけたいんだろ？
うん。
After a brief silence, during which her expression is hard to decipher, Saya looks up at me and says,
ねえ、ふみのり。パパのことはもういいよ。
Oh, she's like, forget dad, I've got my new daddy. But also, that's a fucking red flag, isn't it?
Why'd you have to put it like that?
Because this is a messed up visual novel. That's the last thing I expected her to say.
いいって、でも、君のお父さんだろ？心配じゃないのか？
いいの。私にはもうふみのりがいるし。
What did I tell you? I got a new daddy. Freaking this
パパって言っ
game.
ても本当の意味でのお父さんっていうわけじゃないの。
Oh?
さやのことを教育してくれたし、ある意味では愛してくれてたのかもしれないけど、でもふみのりの方が優しくてあったかい。
You're more gullible. I mean, kinder and warmer. Saya's words make me happy, but I also hear the loneliness in them.
本当に僕だけでもいいのか？
うん。ふみのりは嫌？さやと二人っきりじゃ。
いや、でも、そうだな。やっぱり、大貝教授には会ってみたい。
Having finally figured out how to explain my feelings, I continue.
さやのことをもっとよく知りたいから、僕以外にさやのことを知ってる人がいるなら、ぜひ会ってみたい。
そうなんだ。
Saya doesn't seem upset, but she does tilt her head quizzically, as though my thoughts are strange to her.
それに、やっぱり明日、この場所に行ってみよう。
Another plan has started to form in my head, one separate from the search for Dr. Ogai. If I find a doctor there, great. If I don't, well, I think I can find another use for his mountain retreat.
Oh, he's gonna change base, isn't he?
かもしれないけど、ちょっと我慢して待っててくれ。
Yes, let's just hide out in a creepy cabin in the middle of the woods. No problem,
I mean, it's
sir.
an ideal place, to be fair.
Oof. She nods and looks questioningly into my eyes.
やっぱりふみのりにはさ、家族とか友達とかもっともっと大勢いた方がいいのかな。
That's a weird question. You really want a family and friends, don't you? More people you can spend time with? What?
It is an odd question, yeah.
I feel like we're doing the exact opposite.
そりゃ、その方が楽しいだろうね。
Fearing that Saya will start sulking, I hurriedly add.
でも勘違いしないでくれよ。たとえそういう人たちに囲まれて暮らしてたとしても、さやだけは僕にとって特別な一人なんだからね。
ありがとう。
Ugh. Giggling, Saya rubs her cheek against mine.
さやもふみのりが喜びそうなこと、ふみのりのためだけに頑張るからね。
Oh, we're back at uni.
Been a while since we heard this tune.
Oh, it's Koji time. Today, all of Koji's classes were in the morning. On his way to meet Yo for lunch after his final lecture, Koji suddenly gets a call in the middle of the hallway. Without thinking, he reaches to his belt for his new camera phone, but curses when he realises that the ringtone is coming from the old phone in his bag. He hasn't transferred his contacts list yet, and calls still come to his old phone from people who don't know the new number.
When the fuck did this come out? Camera phone?
Camera phone, early 2000s probably, man. When he finally fishes the phone from his bag, the name he sees on the display sends a chill up his spine. Fuminori! Why now? What does he want? It's hard to be happy about a call from Fuminori after the incident at the Ogai house.
はい。
いや、コージ。今日はもう講義はないよな。
I do not like where this is going.
Hmm.
Of course, Fuminori would know that Koji is free on Thursday afternoons.
相談がある。駐車場に来てくれないか。
今すぐにか。
あ、待ってる。
Fuminori hangs up without another word. What's gone into him? What does he want? Koji wonders as he sticks the phone into his jacket pocket. This sudden change is disturbing after a week of Fuminori avoiding both Koji and Yo. Maybe he's finally ready to talk, in which case Koji should probably consider this a good thing. However, he can't shake the feeling that something is wrong. Definitely wrong, mate. Freaking run.
待たせたか。
いいや。
In the parking lot, Koji finds Fuminori leaning against the fender of Koji's car. Let me guess. He needs to borrow a car, doesn't he?
He's not gonna break it, I hope.
He might try to borrow it.
No, wait, hang on. He can't drive. He can't see things properly.
He can drive. I mean, he can
Like-
kind of see things. He's able to walk about and stuff.
I wouldn't trust him in a vehicle. I mean, I don't trust him anyway, but I wouldn't trust him in a vehicle.
Oh, the last time they met was in the darkness of an abandoned house. This is the first time in over a week that they've spoken face to face in the light. Perhaps that is why Koji senses something strange in Fuminori's expression. He's not sure what exactly, but something has changed. Look at that look.
僕は今、オーガイっていう人についていろいろと調べなきゃならない。
That's a face you can trust, isn't it? That fucking dead-eye stare.
そうらしいな。
Yeah. Oh, Koji knows a bit about Ogai as well now.
ここに来ていろいろと難しくなってきたんだ。やっぱり、僕一人じゃ無理かもなって。
Fuminori seems more relaxed than before. He used to be tense all the time, like he was terrified of something, but now his expression is calm. He's even wearing what resembles a sheepish grin.
で、
あ
お前にも手伝ってほしいんだ、コウジ。
Nevertheless, some instinct is telling Koji that Fuminori's changes are not for the better.
一体どういう風の吹き回しだ。
Koji asks, keeping his expression neutral to conceal his suspicion. I love how he just looks like he can't be arsed with life all the time. He's like,
だって、お前も関心あるんだろ、コウジ。
Fuminori responds coolly. His smile, unreadable as ever, offers no glimpse of his true motives.
お前も僕の後から、オーガイ教授の家をいろいろと探し回ってたじゃないか。僕とお前とでバラバラに探すなんて二度手間だよ。どうせなら、協力してもっと効率的にやろう。
He was looking through the house simply because you were in that house. He doesn't give a shit about Dr. Ogai. So this is not a tempting offer. Besides finding out what Fuminori's trying to look for, like, what is this? Why? Why does he sense malice, thick and vicious, lurking behind Fuminori's smile?
Because there's malice behind that
足
smile.
が必要なんだ。車を出してくれないか。
He's like, can I just borrow your car? I just need to go on a 3 or 4 hour trip.
I told you he can't drive.
Okay, fucking sucks.
まあ、構わんが。
Gonna happen here. Fuminori's car was destroyed in the accident, so Koji isn't surprised that he needs a lift. Koji unlocks his car and gestures for Fuminori to take the passenger seat, then gets behind the wheel and starts the engine.
で、どこに行くんだ。
Look at that 90s ass Honda interior.
I love that interior.
Mm,
Despite the fact that it's been put through a million filters.
nostalgia. Why is he doing this? Why? Why is Koji doing this? This is a bad idea.
I know it's a bad idea, but you know, if they're doing good ideas.
栃木の北の方。那須高原の近所だな。
栃木？
Koji can't believe his ears.
住所はこれだ。この建物を探してほしい。
He seriously expects to be driven over 100 kilometers and back. Koji doesn't know whether to be angry or impressed.
今から出発すれば、夕方頃には着くだろう。
Does this mean that we have to stay there overnight? I have to stay with a psychopath somewhere in a far off place overnight? Nah, man.
まあそうかもしれんが
He told Saya he'd be back, like it would be there and back in under a day, right? But he's gonna stay the night there. What an idiot.
Koji sighs heavily, tapping the steering wheel as he calms himself down. Now that he's come this far, the only thing he can do is see his friend's craziness through to the end. Koji, I want to remind you that Omi has gone missing and we still haven't figured out where she is. This man, in your eyes, is potentially a murderer, or at least a kidnapper, and yet you still are willing to take him on a fucking multi-hour, like 100-kilometer journey to some place in the middle of the night. Ugh.
Road trip! Woo!
別荘か何かかこれは
Why even ask? You know he's going to give you some BS answer.
そこに大貝教授もいるらしい。
Lie. Koji isn't looking forward to meeting the owner of that creepy house, but he's even more uneasy about letting Fuminori go alone. You care about this guy still? Oh my god.
I think it's more like he wants to see what you're doing.
But it looks like he just has to grin and bear it.
東京に戻るのは夜中かもな
Oh, so they plan to come back the same day. Okay.
悪いな。世話をかけて。
いいさ
Koji drives out of the parking lot, leaving the rest of what he'd thought to say unspoken. Fuminori's smile seems wrong somehow, like a mask hiding his true face. Ah, the dreaded cafeteria where we first saw all the craziness. Yo finds herself sitting alone in the cafeteria, searching for a familiar face as her lunch cools on the table in front of her. She was hoping to see Koji today, but he must have had other plans. That wouldn't be at all unusual. Normally, Omi and Fuminori would pick up the slack. But Omi and Fuminori aren't here anymore. Yo puts down her chopsticks, her appetite ruined by the lack of company, and by the anxiety eating at her. Omi is missing, Fuminori is turned on her, and she has no idea why. If Koji were here, you could count on him to distract her with some idle conversation. Now that she is all by herself, Yo becomes keenly aware of how little tolerance she has for loneliness. She begins to feel paranoid, like the whole world is plotting to take from her everything that she cherishes. What is going on here? Where has Omi gone? Is Fuminori really unrelated to her disappearance? But I see the key to this mystery, as Koji and Dr. Tanbo suspect. Yo recalls the event of last Thursday. Alone and without an outlet for her pain after Fuminori verbally eviscerated her, Yo was lucky enough to run into Koji. Although he could hardly make her problem go away, his kindness was a comfort. At the same time, Omi was on her way to Fuminori's house, and she hasn't been heard from since. Yo has only been aware of Fuminori's connection to Omi's disappearance since yesterday, when Koji revealed the truth during their visit to the hospital. What if? A new possibility occurs to her, a reason for why Omi suddenly decided to visit Fuminori. What if it hadn't been a coincidence that Yo ran into Koji that day? What if Koji and Omi had known what transpired between her and Fuminori, and had decided to act separately?
And that is what happened.
Omi might have seen the confrontation in the courtyard. She might have been eavesdropping. It's not unthinkable. And that means... As the idea forms in her mind, Yo feels as though something is tearing apart her body from the inside. It's only a possibility, but if it's true, then whatever happened to Omi is Yo's responsibility too, isn't it? Feel the depression. Yo clutches her head, groaning in agony. The food in her tray is now cold, not that she would have eaten it anyway. Despite her frustration and anxiety, Yo is unable to act on her own. She has never been good at adapting to challenges, and no one would ever call her proactive. She hasn't the slightest idea how to respond to this situation. If Omi were here, she would probably tell Yo to think positive and trust her instincts. Yo has always depended on her best friend's energy. Now that Omi is gone, Yo realises just how weak and useless she is. You can only sink deeper and deeper into the abyss of self-loathing
I feel bad for her. She hasn't done anything wrong. Like all that happened is that she got dumped by her not really boyfriend, and then all her friends around her got fucking pulled into his web of bullshit.
Yeah, it is pretty shit. But also, she seems to have had a kind of unhealthy reliance on her friend, so this is kind of... Look, at some point she might have broke up with her friend. And then that would mean Koji, because she only knows Koji. Oh, 1 second. Let me just pause.
Quite the coincidence.
Oh, and we're back. Yeah, sorry, it was just a little call there, but anyway.
No need to worry, that can be edited in post.
You know I'm not going to edit it.
Why not then? You got Blender installed.
Because it takes an age for it to render, man. Just do one
God.
change. The sudden ringing of her phone pulls her back from the brink of despair. It's a text message. There's no title, and the sender is...
Omi-chan!
Yo cries out in shock. The message itself is even more baffling. If you want to know about Sakisaka Fuminori, come to his house alone. Tell no one.
Oh no, I can't. This is not gonna end well.
The only person I think who would do this is Saya. But why? Do you remember... Does anyone know what Omi's phone looked like? Because remember Saya used a phone to talk to Fuminari in the last ending?
I don't... Oh yeah, it was a flip phone, wasn't it?
Could it have been Omi's phone? This girl is minding her own business, suffering her own depression, and they're not happy. Oh, I love how it says Nitro Plus on the phone. The name of the developer or publisher of this game.
Yep. That's a pretty good Easter egg.
The message bears no trace of Omi's personality, but Yo can't deny that it was sent from her phone. Takes a deep breath to calm herself before typing a reply, taking care that excitement doesn't cause her fingers to slip. Is that you, Omi? Where are you? Yo presses send. The screen shows that her message was received. As she waits for a reply, her mind fills with questions. Is someone else using Omi's phone to send text messages? If so, why to her? Something suddenly occurs to her. She and Omi have exchanged countless messages over the years, many of which contain the sort of embarrassing confessions that close girlfriends share. At times...
No. This is real bad.
I know. I know what's gonna... At times when her feelings for Fuminori grew too strong to contain, Yo often put them into words for Omi to read. And this is a lesson to all the viewers out there. Do not put your thoughts in text form that can be read at some time in the future. Twitter. Anyway.
Now it's TikTok, isn't it?
TikTok's more video though. But yeah, that too. Did Omi put a password on her phone? Even if she had, the person who sent the message was obviously able to unlock it, which means that whoever it is has full access to her history. Do you want to know about Sakisaka Fuminori? Yo reads the strange message one more time. Whoever sent it must believe that Yo has an interest in Fuminori. The phone rings again, startling Yo, but she quickly recovers and looks at the screen. There's no title, and the sender is still Takahata Omi. I'll tell you everything when we meet. Come alone. Tell no one. It's not Omi. She would never try to scare Yo with such a mean-spirited prank. Anxiety has brought Yo almost to tears. Her mind isn't made to deal with this. Who is using Omi's phone and promising to reveal Fuminori's secrets? Who? Yo desperately wants advice from Koji, from anyone. He even starts to dial Koji's cell, but a sudden suspicion stops her. The sender might be somewhere nearby, watching her at this very moment. A cold chill runs down her spine as she looks furtively around the cafeteria. Come alone. Tell no one. The lifeless characters on the screen are like a knife against her throat. However, Yo clutches her phone and forces her heart to stop pounding. Isn't this cowardice exactly what she hates most about herself? Doesn't she want to know what she's capable of? Doesn't she want to do more than sit and wait? Yo realizes that her hand is shaking. How easy it would be to just give in to her cowardice, to convince herself that Omi and Fuminori are beyond her reach. That is what she truly wants. Even if it means abandoning dignity and loyalty, she wants to flee from the unknown. She also knows that even escape is beyond her. Yo understands herself well. She knows that no matter how far she runs, regret and self-loathing will consume her after everything else has fallen apart. In the end, Yo is unable to overcome her cowardice alone. She lacks both the willpower and the courage to run. Well, I guess,
This is
like-
super bad.
this is just so malicious, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The afternoon silence is somehow forbidding. A stink is in the air, the stink of garbage left out to rot. Even this perfectly normal residential neighbourhood seems ominous to Yo in her current state. She feels like she's standing in the middle of a necropolis, as if everyone in the houses around her is dead. Yo pushes her fear aside and presses the buzzer on the Sakisaka house's front gate. Fuminori wasn't in class today. Is he home? He couldn't have sent those awful messages. Could he?
What an idiot.
She doesn't even want to consider the possibility, so she forces the unwelcome thought from her mind. There's no response from the intercom. Yo doesn't know, of course, that Omi stood in the same spot 1 week ago, staring at the silent intercom with the same confusion that Yo is experiencing now. She, however, is not forced to wait as Omi was. The phone in her pocket rings, catching her off guard. It's another text message from Omi's phone. Come in. The door is open. Yo looks around quickly, a shiver running through her as she realizes that she's being watched. Searching fearfully for her observer, Yo spots movement out of the corner of her eye. On the second floor of the Sakisaka house, a tightly drawn window curtain just fluttered. The person who sent the messages is inside the house. Only now does Yo realise that every other window has its storm shutters closed. No matter what happens inside, no one will ever know. This time, he nearly gives in to the intense urge to flee. No, give in!
He really should.
But the terror she feels toward her invisible watcher is stronger, and will not permit her to turn her back upon the open window. She has nowhere to run. Except for back. Yo bursts into tears, unable to take a single step. The phone in her hand rings again, demanding that she enter. She steps through the gate. When she enters the house, an overwhelming stench assaults her nostrils. The house is dark, even though it is the middle of the day. Fuminori must be out, as his shoes are not in the vestibule. However, Yo catches sight of a different pair stuffed behind the shoe cupboard. They look familiar, so she pulls them out of the shadows for a closer look. As soon as she recognises them, her mind tries desperately to deny reality. They are identical to Omi's favourite shoes. Yo has seen her wearing them many times before, but that doesn't mean Omi is here. She tells herself they might belong to someone else, someone who bought the same shoes from the same store. There's no way Omi could be here. Is there? With a sudden flash of clarity, Yo presses the most frequently used speed dial button on the phone in her tightly clenched fist. The phone dials Omi's number. It takes only a second for the signal to reach the nearest relay station, and then... Oof,
Oh boy.
I did not need that for my heart.
Jump scare.
Her face as well. Oh, a familiar ringtone echoes through the house. It's coming from the second floor. Someone must still be up there in the room with the moving curtains. Omi's phone rings for just a few moments, and then it stops, as whoever is holding it realizes Yo's intentions. For the first time, Yo feels the definite presence of her formless guide.
誰ですか？
She gathers her courage and calls out into the house, but there is no response. Whoever it is must not want to be seen. Swallowing hard, Yo walks down the hallway to the staircase. Maybe it's Omi. Maybe it's Fuminori. Surely it's just the two of them playing a prank on her. Koji might even be here with them.
Yo, you sweet, sweet child.
No, Yo, you sweet, sweet dumbass.
She's so naive. This
No,
is going
she-
to be terrible.
Yo's mind fills with comforting images of her friends. She needs to believe that there is still hope. Otherwise, she could not take another step.
おみちゃんだよね。咲坂くんだよね。
Oh, this is Resident Evil background ambience.
I do not like this at all. Are we going to see the true form of Saya? Because we've never seen this before.
Yeah, I think that might actually be where this is going to. That's my suspicion.
As she climbs the stairs one at a time, Yo calls out in a voice choked with tears. When they see her sobbing, they'll probably laugh at her. Let them. It would be the happiest moment of her life. She just wants this torment to end. She tries to move faster, but her trembling legs will not let her. With each agonizing second that passes, she begs for release from this nightmare. After climbing for what seems an eternity, Yo finds herself standing in the second floor hallway. No sound greets her. There is only the gloom, brimming with silent malice.
おみちゃん。おみちゃん。
She shuffles forward, calling out in a weak voice.
出てきてよ。お願いだよ。こんなのもうやだよ。
The door in front of her is half open. It must lead to the room that overlooks the front gate. Yo watches helplessly from a corner of her mind as her body, seeming to move of its own volition, slowly opens the door. The room is empty. The damp, stinking air clings to Yo's skin.
やめて。
She is at her limit, unable to take a single step more. Her spirit has been utterly crushed. Perhaps this is the moment her tormentor was waiting for.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'm going to have to fucking censor this.
Wait, isn't this a censored version?
This is the censored version. What the Something...
Oh boy.
Something grabs Yo's arm from behind. Something flexible and strong like slime-covered rubber. As the thing binds her limbs, finger-like appendages tear roughly through her blouse and force their way inside. Yo screams at the top of her lungs, amazed that she still has the strength to do so. Responding to her distress, primal energy surges through her body as she flails wildly to free herself. However, the grip of the thing behind her remains unbreakable. With escape impossible, Yo can only scream louder as something cold and wet slips under her bra and wraps itself around her breasts. Her ears are filled with the sound of something slimy sliding over her skin.
Man.
What is
It has
this?
to be said. It has to be said.
This is hentai,
Please.
man.
Yeah, I know. I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
This is... As the loathsome assault continues, the unimaginable terror threatens to drive Yo utterly mad. Her throat is already raw from screaming and now she can't even breathe as she struggles desperately against her attacker. Suddenly, the thing pulls away. Yo falls to the floor, unable to support herself on her unresponsive legs. The creature that grabbed her is still there, still here, lurking in a dark corner of the room. She can feel it watching her, but can't bring herself to turn around. She knows that seeing it will likely destroy the last vestiges of her sanity. From close by comes the beep of buttons being pressed. Yo hears a cheerful electronic sound, terribly out of place in this room and sees the phone in her hand blink coldly. A new text message has arrived. She is powerless to stop herself from reading the characters on the screen. You're pretty, and your breasts are so big. I bet they're good for attracting males.
That last line is the one that just kills it for me. Good for attracting males. Just say guys like them. Like, come on. And that's Saya, totally, isn't it?
Is Saya an incel? Now she has her answer. The messages from Omi's phone were sent by the thing that just mauled her breasts. Yo curls up into a tiny sobbing ball, unable to raise her voice or even move. The creature makes a burbling sound. Yo somehow understands that it is laughing at her. That must be how you tempted Fuminori. You tried to steal him from me, didn't you, thief? Something cold seizes Yo's ankles, then travels slowly up her legs until it has covered her entire lower body.
Is it eating her?
So this is definitely a censored bit.
Yeah.
I think it is. Some primal female instinct tells her exactly what is going to happen. Oh, she will be assaulted, powerless to resist a fate worse than death. He pleads feebly, even though there is no hope that the inhuman creature will be merciful. What is this? Like just...
You know exactly what it is, man.
But Saya is a girl, right?
And your point is...
Why not just kill her? She hears its bubbling laughter again. The thing is enjoying her sorrow, her despair. Yo no longer has the strength to resist the monster on top of her. She's only able to shiver in revulsion as the cold slime thing covers her body. Her sight grows dim as her mind sinks deeper and deeper into a black, swamp-like abyss. A weight pushes itself between her legs, but it seems so far away.
Oh, and cutscene.
Yeah, I don't need this. Right, next scene. Wait, do I have to click again? I won't kill you. Though her mind is now barely functioning, Yo hears a voice whisper to her inside her head. It is a girl's voice, sweet and sinister, with the cruel innocence of a child gleefully plucking the wings from butterflies. Instead, I'll let you share in our happiness. Rejoice, Yo. We'll love you to death. The soft voice is a stark contrast to the unyielding strength that drives irresistibly into Yo's core. The pain is sharp and savage, greater than anything she has ever felt before. It should be unbearable, but there is no longer enough left of Yo's mind to recognize it as pain. Oh. While she stares blankly at the thing slithering deeper and deeper into her body, an idle thought floats through her fading consciousness. I've still never been kissed, have I?
The tragedy.
I mean...
Oh my god.
What is this game, man? Seriously, what is this game? That was... I feel like that was totally unneeded. They could have killed her, but...
Well, she's still alive, that's the thing. So we've gone from a tentacle rape scene to a badly photoshopped old Honda.
Just be careful with the R word. Apparently you can get, like, properly...
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just need to be careful about using it. That's why I don't want to use it either. Because, do you know YouTube actually takes, what do you call it? Transcripts of videos when it runs its checks?
Yeah, they've done subtitles on mine. Like, just automatically.
So, but they review that before they upload. So, yeah, we just have to be careful with that. That was not pleasant. That was really annoying. I'm thoroughly annoyed at that. They dragged her into that, or Saya did. And that was just like, there's jealousy, But this was just like, we're gonna have her assault her as well? What? I don't know, it doesn't make sense with a character like Saya. I can understand jealousy and wanting to get rid of her competition, but that just seemed like, I don't know, exploitative of it or something. Just, one second, I need to decompress. It's okay though, we've got our lovely 90s Honda Accord zooming through the motorway. We should be fine.
The Tohoku Expressway specifically.
Ah, yes. It has begun to snow by the time they pass Utsunomiya on the Tohoku Expressway.
下が雪道になってなきゃいいがな。
Koji says. In the passenger seat, Fuminori is gazing out the frosted window in silence. He's been in this trance-like state for almost an hour now. Taking advantage of his inattention, Koji stares unabashedly at Fuminori from the corner of his eye. He still doesn't understand the danger signals that he's been getting from the man. Fuminori has stopped avoiding Koji, and he's even looking him in the eye when he talks. Why does he seem even more distant now than he did when he was trying to push his friends away? Fuminori's posture is noticeably relaxed, but his gaze never wavers, not even for a moment. It's as though he is focused on a clearly defined future that he's chosen to bring about, one that has no place for the needs or wants of others. That is a very specific assumption there from Koji. Right now, Fuminori is complete. Koji cannot help but feel that beneath his bland exterior is a core of solid steel that no one can touch.
近江だけどな。
Koji says suddenly, trying to gauge Fuminori's reaction.
いなくなって今日で1週間になる。まだ何の連絡もない。
そう。
Fuminori replies curtly, still staring into the distance.
心配だね。どうしたんだろう。
Fuminori's tone is completely emotionless. Koji might as well have asked him about the weather or the condition of the mountain roads near their destination.
もう一度聞くが、お前何か思い当たる節はないか？
いや、全然。
Fuminori answers, in exactly the same tone that he used when Koji first questioned him following Omi's disappearance.
まるで気にかけてないみたいだな。
そんなことないさ。
Finally,
It's totally true.
Fuminori shows some emotion. He sounds hurt, like he can't believe Koji could think such a thing.
彼女、僕の家に来る途中でいなくなったんだろ。もちろん僕だって心配だよ。
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
they'll implicate him.
Sudden frustration wells up inside Koji. If possible, he'd like nothing more than to beat the secrets out of Fuminori's head. Koji is worried sick about Omi. To have his concern brushed off so coldly would be unbearable coming from a complete stranger, but from Fuminori, who was his best friend, it's... Fuminori never used to be this callous. Even if Koji tried to interrogate him, he'd probably never find out what changed him so. If Fuminori were still just hiding inside the shell he'd erected around himself after the accident, Koji might have been able to get some answers out of him. With this sly, evasive Fuminori, however, there's nothing Koji can do. Fuminori will never reveal his true intentions, not to anyone. All that's left, then, is for Koji to discover the truth on his own.
近江はな、筑波のことでお前に話があったんだ。
Fuminori smiles bitterly at the mention of Tsukuba's name, perhaps feeling sympathy for her pain. To Koji, however, it seems like pity, the sort one directs at an ant or a worm.
筑波さんか。参ったね。まあ、あんなことがあった後だからさ、最近声がかけづらくて。
Unbelievable. If Fuminori's feelings for Yo were really this cold, then he would have rejected her when she first confessed to him. But he didn't, or at least the Fuminori before the accident didn't. Once again, Koji can't help but wonder if this man who looks like his friend is really a different person who only possesses the memories of Sakisaka Fuminori. The snow has stopped falling when they get off the West Nasu Flats interchange. This area must already be getting a lot of snow, however, as nearby mountains are covered in white beneath the trees.
I miss snow. We don't get it anymore.
Or if we do, it's like a massive snow blizzard and it just like screws everything up.
Yeah.
By the time they turn off the highway and enter the mountains, road conditions are already bad enough for Koji to regret having forgotten tyre chains. Nevertheless, he continues to power his car up the precarious slopes with only a road map to guide him. In places like this, an address isn't enough to pinpoint a location. His only choice is to drive down every road, including private roads that aren't even on the map, while searching for something that matches the photograph. If only they had Google Maps at that time.
Even with Google Maps, sometimes you end up in this sort of position. It's bullshit.
本当にこんな場所に別荘なんてあるのか。
人目につかないところだからこそ、大貝教授は気に入ったはずなんだ。
The more he hears about Ogai, the less Koji wants to meet him. Fuminori is the one who spots the narrow road half hidden in the trees. It's practically an animal trail, overgrown with weeds that are tall and strong enough to withstand the weight of the snow.
これ、本当に道か？
Koji stops the car and sticks his head out the window to stare into the dark forest, but he can't see where the path leads through the tightly packed trees.
写真だとどう見える？
Fuminori hands Koji the photo, which he compares to the mountain ridges visible beyond the trees.
なるほどな。アングルは間違いない。
行ってみよう。
Fuminori's tone is as flat as always, but there is a quiet intensity in his voice that leaves no room for argument. Although Koji is worried that his car's suspension won't be able to handle the terrain, there's no turning back now. He shifts into second gear and starts down the frozen road. The sun sets early at high altitudes. As the car creeps up the mountain path, Koji catches glimpses through the trees of the gradually darkening sky. The forest is completely still. No sound save for the rumble of the car's engine and the crackle of snow and brush beneath its tyres. Fuminori is once again staring silently through the front window. In the ominous silence, Koji feels the same faint chill that he felt when standing before Ogai's suburban home. It feels wrong, as though he is travelling deeper and deeper into a world not his own. After some time, a blocky shape suddenly appears amid the trees, standing out against the twilight sky. A house! Koji turns off the engine and compares the structure in front of him to the picture in his hand. A perfect match. Before he can tell Fuminori, however, his friend is already out of the car.
Oi!
Realising that it's pointless to call out to him, Koji shakes his head, grabs a flashlight from the glove compartment, and follows Fuminori across a snow-covered yard. The photo must not have been taken recently, as the old run-down cabin before them has clearly been left to the mercy of the elements for some time. The front door appears to be locked, but Fuminori kicks it down without a second thought. Koji just watches, knowing that nothing he could say now would matter. Yeah, that's it, just go up to the door and kick it down. He's clearly expecting nobody to be home.
He's just coming shopping for himself.
Because he said to Saya that he might be there, but I think he knew that he's not going to be there. I think Dr. Ogai's dead, man.
Yeah, but we still don't know how or why.
Yeah. All of the windows are shut with heavy curtains, and the gloom inside is thick and stifling. Fuminori turns on his own flashlight and starts rummaging through the cabin without regard for its owner's privacy. Koji is reluctant to do the same, but it is obvious that this mountain retreat has been abandoned for a long time. Just like the house in Tokyo, there's no point in being considerate now. He goes to search a different room. Soon after entering the cabin, however, he realises that their search is meaningless. There's nothing inside but the bare necessities of life. Some rooms are even completely empty, save for a thick layer of dust on the floor. Of what few pieces of furniture are present, more than half appear to have never been used. There's an empty chest of drawers without a single scratch or handprint, but bearing the telltale signs of mould and moisture damage. The condition of the cabin is eerie, though in a different way than the filthiness of the house in the city. It's like someone put together a mock-up of a home and then left it to decay. The only signs that anyone lived here are found in the toilet, the bath, the kitchen, and the bedroom. It appears that the cabin was never used for anything but eating and sleeping. Beneath the darkened sky, the snow itself seems to glow with a cold white light. The scene is like something out of a fairy tale, but to Koji it serves only as an unpleasant reminder that he has stepped outside of the reality that he knows. Next to the front porch is a plain wooden door, half buried in the ground. It's locked, of course, but Koji sees no reason for restraint after what Fuminori did to the front door. The door offers surprisingly little resistance to Koji's heavy kick, breaking open to reveal a set of concrete stairs leading down into a pitch-black basement.
That basement is not going to be good news.
Those close-up faces freak me out. You know, like in the middle of this kind of like creepy freaking search.
Yeah.
Koji would prefer to leave such a forbidding place to Fuminori, but it's not like he can just ask him to take his place. Wait, why don't you just tell Fuminori, oh, bro, look what I found here. Maybe you ought to look down there.
I think he does want to do a little bit of investigation by himself.
He descends into the chilly darkness, the beam of his flashlight leading the way. There turns out to be nothing in the basement but a storage room and a boiler, exactly what one would expect to find in an isolated mountain cabin. The few packages of preserved food sitting on the shelves have long since passed their expiration dates, and the boiler doesn't appear to have been used in years. Koji guesses that Ogai's mountain home has been abandoned longer than the house in Tokyo. Was Fuminori simply mistaken when he said that Ogai might be here? Or was he lying from the beginning? Not sure what to do next, Koji goes back up the stairs and walks around the house of the cabin, and there he finds the backyard. Oh my god, it is the well in the ring.
It's straight up. Just straight out of the ring.
Dude, if anything comes out of that freaking well, I am switching off this game. It's in much worse condition than the front yard, having been mostly reclaimed by the forest. It must have been neglected even when the cabin was still in use. The remnants of a woodshed lie in the yard, the mushrooms growing on it speaking to how much time has passed since its collapse. Next to the rotten logs, however, stands a circle of stone that has not yet succumbed to the elements. A well. The well has no bucket or pulley, and when Koji peers carefully into it, he sees that the water is no longer flowing, probably less than 10 meters deep, depending on how much mud is piled up inside. Koji's search of the cabin has revealed nothing of interest, inside or out. Leaning against the edge of the well, Koji wonders why Ogai bought this remote home deep in the mountains, and what he was doing here. As far as Koji can tell, there's no sign that more than one person ever stayed here.
人目につかないところだからこそ。
Bad feeling.
It's been there the whole time.
No.
It also doesn't help that this brooding ambience comes up.
No. This is a good place to dump a body.
Ah, yeah.
Fuminori's words play back in Koji's head. Could this have been some sort of secret refuge? A place to remain hidden from the world? That would explain why there's nothing to suggest that whoever lived here did anything more than eat and sleep. Koji suddenly remembers the doctor he met yesterday at T University. Maybe she'd know something. He takes out his phone and calls up the number. There's barely a signal, but it manages to get through. Koji hopes are soon dashed, however, when his call goes straight to Dr. Tanbo's voicemail. He considers calling back later, but realises that it would be hard to talk to her with Fuminori around. Fuminori would not at all be pleased to learn that Koji and Yo went to see this doctor.
Never mind the fact that doctor broke fucking patient confidentiality.
True. Koji decides that he'd better tell the doctor what he can while he's still alone.
どうも、殿浩二です。昨日はお世話になりました。
Koji leaves a clear and concise message, explaining that he went with Fuminori to Ogai's mountain retreat, giving the address, and asking for confirmation that the property belongs to Ogai.
東京に戻ったら、またこちらから連絡します。では。
That was a very good thing to do. I
know, right?
Fucking impressed with Koji. He is the best man, best person in this whole goddamn visual novel.
Well, let's take stock of that. Has he done anything wrong?
He drove. I suppose he drove Fuminari here in the first place. Where I would just be like, no, forget that. Letting Omi go to talk to Fuminari was maybe a bad idea. Maybe he should have tried to convince her otherwise.
I think at that point they weren't convinced that he was. They didn't suspect that he was dangerous at that point.
Yeah.
Just that he was stupid.
Yeah. I think this was a kind of stupid. I know he wants to know what Fuminori's up to, and he doesn't realize yet how dangerous Fuminori really is. But still, fair enough. I think he's done mostly good things, and he's helped Yo out as well while she's been stressing about stuff. Like, he's been supporting her. So yeah, I think Koji's the star person in this whole visual novel so far.
Best dude so far.
After hanging up, Koji thinks back to their visit to the hospital. Is Dr. Tanbo actually investigating like she said she would? A reluctance to speak of Dr. Ogai is weighing on his mind. He talked to Yo about it on the way home, but they were unable to decide whether the doctor could really be trusted. Speaking of which, how is Yo doing? Koji hasn't seen her today. He didn't say a word to her about his trip to Tochigi. He might be worried, especially so soon after Omi's disappearance. Thinking to check up on her, Koji dials Yo's number and is surprised when it rings longer than it usually does. Did she forget her phone somewhere? Just as he's about to give up, the call connects. The first thing Koji hears is a strange sound. It's not signal interference, but some kind of wet, distorted noise, like the voiceless groans or perhaps sobs of someone far away. No. That's exactly what they are. The person on the other side is crying.
Tsukuba na no ka?
Did she say anything?
She did. She said "Dare."
Alright. There's a response, but is it really Tsukuba's voice? It's too twisted with agony for Koji to tell. Panic surges through Koji as he realizes that something is terribly wrong.
Koji da. Tono Koji da yo. Tsukuba na no ka? Ima doko nanda?
After a short period of nothing but pained moans, words start coming through the speaker one by one, as though each takes an act of will.
She's done the thing to her, hasn't she?
Oi, Tsukuba, daijoubu ka?
You think so?
Yeah.
Why would she do that though?
I mean, why would she do it to Yosuke?
She was doing it to Yosuke to test if she could. But she knows that she can. And she also saw the result of what happened when she did it. So why would she bother to do it to Yo, who is...
Just for fun, I suppose. I mean, she had a jealousy thing of her against her.
Suppose. Yo must be delirious, because Koji can't understand a thing she's saying. Her gasps and wheezes, however, are enough to tell him that she's in an unimaginable pain.
What?
Okay, I don't think she did the same thing she did to Yosuke.
Yeah.
She's not making any sense. Koji feels despair seize his heart in an iron grip. What is happening to Yo now, 100 kilometers away? Only her voice gives any hint of what she's going through. There's nothing he can do for her.
Tsukuba, 警察を呼べ。助けを呼ぶんだ。
Yo suddenly breaks into a violent hacking cough as though trying to expel something filling her throat.
Tsukuba!
Koji screams into the phone, his reason overwhelmed by unimaginable horror. Which is why he's unable to react when the phone is suddenly knocked from his hand, and also why he didn't notice Fuminori sneak up on him until it was too late. Fuminori seizes Koji's lower jaw with his right hand, cutting off Koji's angry shout. Koji can hardly believe the strength of the smaller man's grip. His biggest mistake was leaning back against the well. There is nothing to grab onto as Fuminori pushes him backward over the edge. He can only flail his arms vainly against the air. Koji soon loses his balance entirely. He feels a terrifying weightlessness as the world spins before his eyes. Before he can realise what has happened, his back strikes something with tremendous force. He thrashes wildly as cold, dirty water fills his mouth and freezes him to the core. Only when his fingers find the wall of the well is he able to regain his sense of direction and right himself. On his hands and knees in the mud, Koji vomits filthy water out of his lungs. He tries to shout, but it comes out as a hoarse groan, distorted by the echo in the cramped space. Fuminori's laughter, on the other hand, is as clear as a bell. Fuminori tosses Koji's phone into the well. Koji catches it just before it hits him in the face, and finds that the battery pack has been removed, rendering it useless. This is no joke. A miracle that Koji is uninjured. Could easily have broken his neck. And just because he's not hurt doesn't mean that he's safe. Koji feels around the inside of the well, searching for something to hold on to, but the mud-covered stone offers no purchase. It's obvious that he won't be able to get out without help. Koji starts to say, but trails off as the pieces finally come together in his head. Today's sudden change in Fuminori's attitude. That smile that always seems somehow malevolent. Fuminori hadn't been smiling at Koji, but at the thought of his friend's death. He can't wrap his head around this turn of events. Why would Fuminori try to kill him? True, Fuminori had wanted Koji to stay out of his business, but is that really a motive for murder? How's he gonna drive back home though?
Well, maybe he'll just drive himself and not give a shit. Fuminori replies coldly. He sounds truly amazed that Koji would ask such a thing. Fuminori disappears from view, leaving Koji alone in the darkness with nothing to connect him to the outside world. I'm just going to say that Koji probably still has the car keys. Maybe.
Fuminori! Oi! Fuminori!
Koji shouts at the top of his lungs, knowing beyond a doubt that if Fuminori leaves, all help of rescue will vanish with him. No one will ever hear him calling for help from the bottom of this mountain well. In his desperation, Koji no longer comprehends the futility of begging for mercy. No god or devil will answer him. His only hope is that Fuminori will have a change of heart. Praying for a miracle, he keeps calling Fuminori's name. Eventually, the sky grows as dark as the bottom of the well. Koji can no longer make out the edge of the opening, and he has long since lost track of how many hours he has been screaming. Nevertheless, he continues to scream, for he knows that the despair silence brings will kill him.
Poor man.
Oof, oof. So I think I'm going to leave it there for this video and continue a new one.
Alright.
So we'll leave it here for this episode, guys, and we'll see you next time. Kuxel?
Oh, do you want... Alright, so See you guys.
See you later.